Hello, this is Chimé from WeeklyBagel.com. And this is my podcast, and this is the first episode of my podcast. I've been looking very forward to starting this podcast for a while now. Actually, I've been thinking about starting a podcast or adding a podcast section to my website since 2021. And I haven't come around to it, so today I said to myself, to hell with it, I'm going to start it. And now I am starting it. Now, why am I adding a podcast section to my Weekly Bagel personal finance blog? Well, the thing is, I figured I could connect more to my audience. That is you. I could talk to you and get to know you as a person. And we could explore the art of life together, the art of living. And has always been a journey for me. And Weekly Bagel is my baby, in the sense that having made a lot of mistakes, since I moved to the States in terms of financial aspect, I decided to start the blog as a way of teaching young working class adults like me how to best take care of their finances, especially simplifying personal finance for them. And the podcast section is just going to be you and me exploring on financial concepts, and we exploring on the best way to take charge of our finances in order to create the kind of life we want, and also help us further our goals, because eventually that's what it boils down to. As a working class adult, as you can see, it's becoming harder to survive in an economy like ours, given that our jobs are not keeping up with inflation rate. And if you have read my articles, sometimes I write all these things down there as a way of offloading my grievances. As some of you are aware, most of the working class jobs that we have, especially on the lower tier, and by the lower tier, I'm talking about working class adults that are making less than $60,000 a year. You will find out that every year when we get a wage increase, the wage increase is not calculated in a way that helps us keep ahead of the inflation rate, right? What do I mean by this? I mean that every year some of us get an increase in wage rate by a few dollars. And that's not enough. It doesn't really make much difference when you talk about the living cost of each year that passes by. So my goal with this podcast and this website is to explore ways we could, further our financial interest, because we all have financial interest. And we all have goals, and we all have dreams. And if year by year we're living a life in such a way we are not in changes, or where our financial income doesn't really change much, then we are forced to expend our time in order to make enough just to survive. And you agree with me, for any working class adult that works very, very hard and long hours, there isn't much time to do anything, right? There isn't much time to explore the world. There isn't much time to connect with your family. There isn't much time to chase your other dreams. There isn't much time to create memories that, you and I will live off of as we're getting older, and say if those that are with us have passed along and we're all alone, right? Because we all need those sweet memories when we are old. At least that's what I think. So I'll be posting weekly. And my podcast is going to have the same goal as my website, or as my personal finance blog, Weekly Bagel, which is to simplify personal finance for you. But in addition to that, I'll be exploring the art of living with you. What do I mean by exploring the art of living with you? I mean that we and I are gonna explore ways where we can set ourselves, where we can set ourselves up for success. And pardon my English. As you can see, English is not my first language, but I'm quite fluent in it. And if you ever have anything to add to each podcast that I post, you can always comment or shoot me an email at chimezie@weeklybagel.com. That is chimezie@weeklybagel.com. And I'm always learning, and I hope you will learn from me. And if you're someone who has already advanced, it would be nice to hear your insights about things that I would discuss that could help the youngins that are coming up, because we all need it. This is an economy where we have to keep ahead of inflation. Because, for instance, if year by year we are making, take for instance, you're someone that makes about, say, a certain amount of money a year, and next year it's just the same amount of money without much change, then you would agree with me that if the inflation rate is going higher, your life is going to be miserable. Especially if you have all these bills to take care of, and on top of that, you have dependents on you. So on this podcast section that I'm creating and adding to my personal finance blog, I am going to be talking about ways we could set ourselves up for success by getting more skills, more degrees, changing careers, going into fields or the kind of jobs that we do that will help us be able to make more money every 2 to 3 years. That way, stay ahead of the inflation, take care of our responsibilities as the men and women we are, and save and invest in ways that will help us have extra money. That's what I'm going to be talking about on this podcast. Like I said, I'll be posting every week, once a week, and it's going to be a very beautiful journey because I've been looking forward to this since 2021. And finally, I just, at the end of class today, I was like, okay, to hell with it. I'm just going to start it anyway rather than putting it off. Because I have so much things to talk about, And, I hope you'll be very patient with me. And if you like, the episodes that I'm posting weekly, I would like you to leave a comment under the post. At the same time, share this with any young person that you think this is going to help. I'm talking about consequent episodes that are going to be coming. That's all I've got to say. I look very forward to exploring this path with you and growing year by year, because that's what we do as working class adults. At least that's what we should do as working class adults. We should try to maximize our potential, and don't tell me that, we don't have. Every single one of us has potential. I've told you the story where the first job I got moving to this country was cleaning toilets. If you go to my website on why I started WeeklyBagel.com, you will learn on the little biography that I left there that I was actually able to build my parents a house cleaning toilets in downtown San Antonio. And that's how I was able to dig us out of that hole where my parents lived in a squalor apartment and now to their own house. And I used to have these boys that would come in, and so what I did, I used to work in a convention center, right? So I would scrub the toilets very well, and this little lady would come in and she would touch this toilet seat with her bare hands, and then she would rub between her fingers, and she'll be like, "Hey, Chime, come." And then I would come to her, and then she'll be like, "This is still dirty." And then as a young man, then because this was what 11 years ago, as a young man, then I would wonder how much do you have to scrub a toilet for the toilet to be as white as snow? Because for me personally, I would scrub the toilets very well, and it will look white to me and clean. And whenever the lady, the supervisor, my boss, then went and touched the toilet seats with her bare hands and showed me, she said it's dirty, and on her hands I only see liquid, right? And she would torment me every single day I go to work, and I would throw up, and I tell you, my friend, then I didn't like that life. So it got to a point where I was like, okay, to hell with this. I came to work one day, and I actually threw down my badge, and I said, "Ma'am, with all due respect, I quit." And then she was like, "Hey, come, let's talk about this." I was like, "Nope." I was like, "No, this is not what I thought. This is what I wanted to do." Being a young man, and this was one of the first jobs I had. I said, "But being here and you tormenting me whenever I do this job and scrub this toilet, you have made me realize that I could do better." And that was how I started college, and got a degree, and that led to the part that I am today, where I have a very good paying job, and I'm emotionally satisfied in my job. And I'm also in school currently to get a higher degree to help me contribute to the society I found myself. Now, why am I sharing this with you? I am trying to tell you where I'm coming from. I am proudly a working class adult, and I know that you are proudly a working class adult too. We are all working class adults, most of us, at least majority of people you're going to meet in your life. And if you don't like what you do, you can always make change about it. You get? And this is a country where there are lots of opportunities. Even if you're not listening from the United States of America, if you're listening from another country, wherever you are, there are opportunities. You get what I mean? And if using an entry-level job to sponsor you, getting a skills that will get you up there where you need to be, you go ahead and then you do it. But never ever get satisfied staying in one place, especially if there is discomfort associated with it. And these are the themes that we're going to be exploring on the podcast section of my blog. Because I've always, talked about this with my friends and with some people. And sometimes when I talk to people about it, they're like, "Oh, Chime, why can't you just be, okay with where you are?" I'm like, well, if your soul is nagging you and telling you you could do better, you could do better, you could do better, I say trust your gut and go for it. Especially if you're in a level in life where you know that you could do better, where you know that there's so much to you, that your story hasn't ended, that your life story is going to be very interesting. I say go for it. And whatever it is that the world, thinks about you making such a move, that's for the world to worry about, not you. Because let me tell you something, my dear listener. You have been born. Do you understand? And since you've been born, you have to inject purpose in your life. And that means if you're doing something you don't like, where you want more, in order to get your dreams accomplished, in order to have a certain level of comfort in life, in order to maintain a particular lifestyle, in order to take care of your family members, in order to be able to see the world you were born in, you have to make moves. You have to. You have to make moves. Because if you don't make moves, the system is designed to keep young working class adults suffering. And I kid you not. I I want you to sit down and think about it. For instance, now for my fellow working class adults, say that are working in fast food places, say for instance you're making about $19,000 a year, and every year you're making $19,000, and if your income is changing, maybe it's changing by a few $100s a year. Say like this, like say take for instance, last year you made 19,000. This year you made 19,500. Next year you made 19,700, and it's increasing slow. And then the inflation rate is increasing faster than you're able to cope. You are going to suffer. That's what I mean by the system is designed to keep us where we are. And now, whether this was done intentionally or not, I'm not going to argue about that. It's a whole rabbit hole to go down on, and I'm not going to do that because I don't worry about that. But I'm telling you right now that it is imperative that working class adults like you and me need to stay ahead of these circumstances that we have found ourselves in. And in doing so, we have to make decisions that keep us a step ahead of all these things, right? We have to know how to save our money. We have to know the right kind of job to have. And if we're going to college, for God's sake, we have to make sure that the college we're going to and the major that we're going for are majors that will pay us money. Yeah, there are majors that are going to help us take care of business, take care of our family, take care of our dreams, take care of our life goals. And these are things that we have to be thinking about as young working class adults. And some of us don't do this. And that is why I'm creating this podcast, so that I can explore these things with you and we could talk about it. We could talk about why you as a 19 years old man or woman at your age right now has a credit card debt of about $6,000 to $7,000 when what you are making in a year is actually twice that. We have to talk about why. You say your annual income is about $25,000, but you're driving a very expensive car where your car note is about $500 to $600 a month. It does not make sense. We're going to talk about why when you're young, as a young working class adult, you have a job that brings in about, say, $1,700 a month, and you live in an apartment that is $1,200 a month. It doesn't make sense, right? So these are the things that we are going to talk about, and we will explore all of these, and hopefully we arrive at conclusions that will help us make better decisions. And these are things that we need to talk about as a people in our society, especially given that financial classes are not given in colleges and they are not given in senior high schools. And these are necessary things that they should be teaching us, so that when we are out there, in real life world, we are actually making decisions for ourselves that keep us a step ahead, right? So I really look forward to exploring this part, and I hope that it goes very well. And this is the first episode of the Weekly Bagel podcast. I am Chimé again, and I look very forward to adding an episode every week. This is going to be fun, right? All right, well, it's nice to meet you. Check back on. There's going to be another episode. All right, Chimé out.